Boy.
Oh, Canada.
Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
No, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.
And now you're more fluent. But you know what? I'm going to do something that I normally don't do. So this is going to be weird for you sitting over there because I am this close. I'm this close to figuring out how to stream our show on TikTok at the same time that we're doing this.
Oh.
So I'm this close. However, I have figured out Instagram. So I'm going to pop us on there and see what happens. See if it works. I don't even know. And who knows? I don't know what that means. But I feel like it means if I can do the one, I can probably figure out the other. So
that's usually how that works.
Yeah.
Yes.
People are going to be like, they're going to be like, what the hell? How are you? Like, you're just popping up live on Instagram, no intro, no nothing. It's like, well, yeah, because you guys are late to the party.
Yeah, we already been on. So.
We've been on for 5 minutes. So listen, I told you we're starting off with our special guest, Fluent Jr. Say what up.
Tony Tone Jr. in the house. What up, nephew?
And you know what we always talk about. We always talk about basketball. However, we are going to talk about football today a little bit because I'm angry about something, and you know I got a vent.
That's the Tony Tone rants, by the way. Just so
yes, one of my famous rants. But first, I want to give you a little, you know, because you always like say, "Yo, tell me what's going on with my nephew, how things are going, what's new and exciting."
I don't get to see him that much, so I'd like to know what's going on with him.
Yeah, so we got a little baseball action. We got a little bit.
Is that him on the hill?
Look at that.
All right.
Oh, okay. Wait. Did I pause it? You know what? That was a technical glitch on my part. That was 100% my bad. I apologize to everybody. I stink at my job. I'm thoroughly embarrassed. I'm not gonna lie. So you'll have to wait a minute for it to download. Good thing is the computer is super fast.
So you don't have to wait long.
Like, yeah, you don't have to wait long. Like, you remember? Do you remember this or no? Back when we were doing this show with Haley, and there were times that my computer would freeze and just like die.
Yep, I do remember that.
Remember that? And then I said, I checked everything, the internet, the wires, the cables, the blah, blah, and I found out that it was none of those. It was my computer. It was just old.
Right.
And rickety. And so I said, I'm going to buy myself a new one. And I did. And since then, it hasn't been slow. So that being said,
modern technology, well, let me tell you.
Voted like 10 times over. What up, everybody? Listen, and I know today's show is probably going to be viewed later because, hey, we got a game in about 30 minutes, and we're going to talk about that game first. And we're going to update that game as things are going. But it is OKC, Minnesota. Yes, it is OKC, Minnesota. Short turnaround for OKC, but let's get back to what I was talking about here.
Suasana makin panas, orang bikin lebih heboh. Musik bermain, gonta ganti bikin nonton kicau. Semakin naik, main rima depan mic. Tetap beat bola naik, sekejut tangan naik. Dan masih berbunyi musik itu tetap menari bermain-main. Everybody say main sekali, we gonna do something. Not cuma main-main, kasih tahu orang so beda dan cara main.
So my man went out, got a strikeout, got the another batter to strike out to ground out to first.
Yeah.
Then strikes out the third batter to get out of the inning. And then when he's up to the plate, he does his little Neo Matrix thing, gets the walk, steals second, steals third, steals home. One man wrecking crew.
What? Yo, this dude is incredible.
And we talk about defense and passing, how he didn't get that for me. I never played baseball, so I know he never got any of that.
Hey, we know we got an athlete on our hands. We don't know where we got it from because we didn't get it from Pops. We got it from
I get the baseball for me. Although maybe I missed an opportunity. Maybe I should have played some baseball. I don't know. Maybe. Who knows?
I couldn't hit the curve, nephew. So I'm a huge fan of baseball players.
I'll be honest with you. I have no idea how these guys, even at this level, they're throwing like 50, 60 miles an hour. I have no 45, 50. Is that okay? I have no idea how they hit.
Fast, yo.
That's it. Okay.
For a 10-year-old, that's fast, yo.
It's fast.
Yeah.
Good job. All right. I think it's the haircut. Do you see this thing on his head? I don't know.
When'd you get your haircut?
What?
When'd you get your haircut?
When'd you get your haircut?
We both did it on Saturday.
Yeah.
All right. Nice.
Hold on. What's this? We got that handsome boy next Fluent, really good looking.
Like his mom.
Like his mom. He looks good like his mom. There you go. Here's my rant. You might want to plug your ears for this.
We normally don't read. We normally don't read chats, but she family, so
yeah. When it's family, you got to do. What the hell is the NFL or the Olympic Committee or whoever thinking, allowing the NFL players to play in the Olympics? First of all, how is flag football an Olympic event? And two, how are they allowing NFL players to go play against some third world countries that don't know what they're doing, who are going to take out their knees and ruin my next NFL season?
Well, okay, first of all, Tone, number one, what am I supposed to do in the offseason? Like do nothing? That's number one. Number two, it's the Olympics. They don't just let anybody play in it. So the team, the country of, I don't know, Ecuador that got a flag football team, Tone, they do know what they're doing. Just like their soccer team, just like in Japan, they got a soccer team. They know what they're doing. And Tone, I can get my knees taken out working out in the summertime. That can happen anywhere. That's not just relegated to, and I got to do something on top of that to play in the Olympics. I'm not even on that, Tone. I'm on the fact that flag football is an actual thing in the NFL.
That is my bigger. I don't know which one's
that's my
bigger
issue.
Your issue. Okay, so start with your issue. Your issue is flag football in the Olympics.
Tone, my issue is that flag football is the Pro Bowl. What happened to football? We don't do that no more.
No other countries play football. Like we play football. No other countries play football like we play football.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, Tone. There might not be any.
So they figured flag football is kind of universal, so it would be more opportunity. But at the same time,
who's playing in it, Tone? Let's get to the bottom of that right there, because clearly there's somebody you're invested in that's playing in this.
I have no idea what countries have qualified. I have no idea what players are going. All I know is they voted today and they approved NFL players to be allowed to play flag football in the Olympics. And I get it. As a football player, very few opportunities to go to the Olympics. Right? There's a couple of guys who've done like shot put who were NFL players, but like that's about it. I don't like it. There's nothing good that can come out of it. Here's why. One, our football players, when I say our, American, are going to be vastly superior. Although flag football is a bit of a different game, I get it, but they're vastly superior because they just play football. They understand, like, we have better quarterbacks, better wide receivers, and those two things are the most important thing. So what benefit do they have? They're going to go out there and dominate them. Cool. And they get a gold medal. That's awesome for them individually.
Right.
The flip side is they get hurt playing against, because listen, you say, well, Ecuador knows how to play. Yeah, well, Ecuador also can't play to the level of the U.S., so what are they going to do? They're going to mucky up the game. That's what you do. When you play against a team that is better than you, what do? You make it ugly.
Right? But it's still flag football, Tony. We got rules. All right. So it's not like it's flag football and they got a coach. They got plays, right? There is an organization. They didn't just show up to the
Have
Olympics.
You ever played? See, you've always been the favorite, going to St. Anthony's. when you're on a team that is the underdog and you're facing a team that is bigger, stronger, faster, better,
right?
That's when you start to do the little clutchy, grabby, steppy, pushy, twisty little stuff to get an advantage.
Sure. Okay, I can get with that part.
So imagine you're paying hold on. Who's your who would go from the Niners?
Let's say Brandon Ayuk if he was healthy.
Fine. Brandon Ayuk.
Okay.
He goes to play flag football. He's making a cut. The dude from I'm not picking on Ecuador, but you brought them up. The dude from Ecuador steps on his foot. So as he goes into his turn, trying to make him fall, snaps that ankle, and now he's going to miss the season. Now, and your Super Bowl hopes. How do you feel? And don't say it can happen in the NFL because that's different. That's playing the actual game.
100%.
This is playing a niche,
You're right.
a niche spectator sport for no reason.
Right. So the way I would feel is the same way I would feel is if he was working out with, I don't know, if he was working out with Lamar Jackson and he dug his toe in the dirt to make a cut and he ended up snapping his ankle.
But
I would feel the same way.
He's working on football.
Yes. And he's playing football.
He's not. No, he's playing flag football against a bunch of dudes that.
No, that's a different kind of football.
Flag.
Flag football. Relax,
FLAG. Flag football.
Yeah, relax, folks.
People going crazy over there. I don't. It's be like I don't know. I don't like flag football in the Olympics, just like I didn't like breakdancing in the Olympics, and I hate NFL even more.
Breakdancing is so that's going.
And we saw what happened with breakdancing.
Yes, breakdancing can go.
How was that girl breakdancing? The one that won the gold medal.
I could do better.
You could do better. Thank you very much.
You could do better than her as a breakdancer?
Yeah.
See, that's a man. But here's the thing, Tone. It sounds to me.
His sister taught him the coffee grinder thing.
I'm dead.
What I'm trying to make sense of is why this is a problem when you're worried about something that could happen anywhere. As a football is a violent sport, Tone. Flag football is the least violent of football. It's not like flag football. It's not like flag football is the equivalent to putting on the pads and going 7-on-7 and like we got live action. We're playing flag football. You can't touch me. You got to grab the flag. And
okay.
And at any point when you are chasing me, you might trip and fall. And in the process of you tripping and falling, you could fall into my leg. Or you could end up pushing me out of bounds and I could get hurt. But I mean, that is part of football. Football is rough.
But I think I have a fundamental issue with one, flag football being in the Olympics. So let me answer this question very quickly. What other sports do I think should be in the Olympics? None. They should take half of them away. Okay, because it's the Olympics.
Any feeling fencing, Tom?
I'd rather have fencing than soccer.
Why?
And that's not a knock against soccer. Soccer's an incredible sport. Soccer's an incredible sport. It's just not an Olympic event.
Do you have basketball?
No, basketball shouldn't be in the Olympics either. Basketball's not an Olympic event. Have world tournaments, whatever. Not the Olympics. I maybe because I'm Greek.
I know what you're talking about.
Maybe because I'm Greek. I'm a old school, kind of fundamental.
Yes.
Olympics are the Olympics. The other part of it is, and I've said this about basketball too, which I love to watch the Olympics when the dream and all that stuff. But honestly, it's for amateur athletes. So I don't like the NBA guys being in there. I understand why they did it, because back when they did it in 92, the other countries were putting their pros in, so they had no choice. And they were losing, so they had no choice.
Right.
Well, I don't want NFL players in there. I don't want pro soccer. It's an amateur athlete's only chance at world fame, and we're taking it away from them and putting in pro athletes. Traditionally, the Olympics, right?
Right.
Track and field.
Yep.
And look, I get it. I get expanding it and some of those things.
Right.
But it's too much, like darts and breakdancing. And next we're gonna have ballroom dancing and basket weaving. Like everything's just gonna be, what'd you get a gold medal in? I got a gold medal in knitting. I'm so wonderful. No. It's too much. It's too much.
You're right. Because archery is an Olympic sport too.
Archery is an Olympic sport because there's no pro archery league.
Right. Archery is an Olympic sport.
Do you know why the Olympics was started?
I don't know exactly why the Olympics started. I do know where it started. I know it started in Greece.
Sure.
And I do know that that's where the first Olympics was. but I don't know why it was started.
So it was started as a way to bring in world leaders, or at the time it was regional, but as it expanded, world leaders together to have like an open dialogue about how they can make the world a better place, more peaceful, as opposed to going to war.
Which we don't want to do. Okay.
While these amateur athletes kind of competed in a competitive, but like hey, I'd rather have my country beat your country in the 100-meter dash than me, bomb your country.
In competition, but non-violent. How about that?
Right. It was a way to bring peace and betterment. And now it's turned into like everything else, a spectacle about money and how many events can we put in and how many sponsors can we get. And call me whatever you want to call me, old head this, old head that. But like, again, I go back to you're watching breakdancing. You're watching breakdancing.
Well, here's the thing, Tone, and I can appreciate
breakdancing.
I can appreciate
that, and I'll shut up.
No, it's not like watching breakdancing. No, it's not the same thing. What I'm saying is the Olympics are the best athletes in the world. Now, is it the best amateur athletes in the world, Tone, or is it the best athletes in the world?
It's the best amateur athletes in the world. That's how it's presented.
And what constitutes a pro? A pro is somebody who gets
someone who gets paid.
Right. Somebody who gets paid, but somebody who also does it for a living. All right. So if I got a guy, if I got a guy who's in the Olympics that runs the 100 meters, and he's running 100 meters in like 9.6, but then I got a guy who's running professionally, who runs the 100 meters at 9.7. Okay, well, what does the Olympics actually mean then? If I got a guy in the Olympics that's running faster than a professional, don't we want the best athletes in the world?
The thing with 100-meter is, although they have competitions throughout the year, and the years leading up to the Olympics, there's no pro 100-meter dash league. There's no league. And again, individual sports is different as well. Right? Like, it's different. It's, but okay. There should be, or there was, I believe, like an age limit too, right? Like you don't like what purpose would it serve back then to have like Venus Williams in her prime at 28 going up against somebody in the Olympics? Like she'd dominate, she'd kill them. What's the point?
But that's the idea though, Tone. The idea is to get the best athletes in the world,
amateur
bring them together. And see, that's the thing.
So then change it. Don't say amateur athletes anymore. Or eliminate the word amateur.
Because that's not what's going on. These guys, and to your point, when you talked about there's no track leagues. Well, Tone, they don't. These runners, they don't just run in the Olympics. They don't just run in the World Championships every 2 years. No, they have events. They have events in Cologne. They have events in Barcelona.
Yeah.
They have
how much do they get paid to run?
Pretty good. They make pretty good money, and a lot of.
How much do they get paid to run?
How much do they get? I couldn't tell you exactly what,
because they don't get paid to run. Now they might get money, like prize money, if they win. They definitely get endorsements the more they win.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Like
endorsements are different. For example, if endorsements mattered, then every single NBA team would be so far over the cap, it's not even funny. Because the guy making $30 million from his NBA contract is making $300 million from his endorsements. So you can't count the endorsements, because I can get an endorsement today. You probably have a sponsor for on the panel for whatever they were pitching on Monday when I was there for the bet, whatever.
I think the difference
that is not paid to do. That is, hey, we're using your celebrity to promote our brand, but we're not paying you to do what you do. It's a different. There's a difference.
There is that, and I don't know if I can argue that, because I'm thinking about you as I'm a runner. I run 100 meters, or I run 110-yard dash hurdle. Okay, Nike is sponsoring me because I wear their sneakers in order to run.
Right.
But am I actually getting paid for this competition? When I'm here, are they paying me? Well, they have to, as an Olympic athlete. I'm an Olympic gold medalist. One of the reasons why I'm here is they are going to pay me, because I'm one of the headliners for this event. So
yeah, do you know how much you get paid for the Olympics?
I don't think it's much.
Nothing.
Well, because
no. Nothing.
I know the coaches got paid. I do know that.
Yeah, coaches are different.
Yeah,
Coaches
I
are
know the
different
coaches got
because
paid.
coaches are being paid by the country, and that's why some countries are better than others. Is how much money they put into these Olympic events. Olympic athletes have, if you meet almost every look, there's exceptions, but
Sure.
for the majority of Olympic athletes have full-time jobs. They have to. They have to have full-time jobs. Just imagine having to train all year and have a full-time job. It's funny. We make fun of NBA players calling them plumbers because they had regular jobs in the summer. That makes it harder, bro, not easier to compete at a high level. But anyways, that's a story for another day. So that's all I'm saying is if you want to remove it, that's fine. Then remove the amateur tag, make the sponsors step up and the country step up and pay them to be pros. I'm good with that.
Olympic athletes got
great
paid.
with that.
And is it because I do understand that there's a difference
Countries
between
that pay. There's certain countries that pay their athletes, and it varies from next to nothing to hundreds of thousands of dollars if they get a bronze, a silver, a gold medal. The country
Right.
pays.
I get that. I get that part. But
Olympics nothing. Olympics are the biggest scam. The IOC is the biggest thieves and most corrupt organization in the world. Forget the mob in the Vatican. It's the IOC.
The International Olympic Committee. I didn't know that they were thieves like that. But I did not. I did not know that they were crooks like that. And I feel so unprepared to talk about.
Well, you know me.
Right now. But with that being said, if I run, right, if I run for, I don't know, at the University of Stanford, and then I ended up in the Olympics, and then I quote unquote I turn pro, and then I come to this event that's at the University of Oregon. One of the main reasons why this huge turnout is there is because I'm there, or because you're there, and you're an Olympic gold medalist. So for that event, you are getting paid to be there. You're not just showing up and Nike is sponsoring you. No, Tone, that's not the way that works. Those people are not running for, what's this? What, McLaughlin, I think that's her name. When she shows up to events, she's not running for free. No way is she running for free.
What would name the event?
I'm thinking about something off the top of my head. Like if, for example, I think that's that. I think the event it's at Stanford, and then there's another one at the University of Oregon. Like she's not running for free. She's going when she goes up there and she's running, she's getting paid. No doubt about that, she's getting paid. This is not 1987 or 1970. No, this is 2025.
Listen. The amount a sprinter can earn annually varies significantly based on how they get paid, which there are ways they can get paid. Sponsorship,
yep.
Prize money. So if they don't win, if they run and they finish 8th or 7th, yes, the top sprinters, the ones who win gold, silver, bronze, yes, they will make up to, not including endorsements, they can make up to $50,000 a year. It's not right. There's 1% that makes like $300,000-$400,000. There's just again, neither one of us I think came prepared to have this conversation. So we'll have it again.
Sure.
And I'll give you more. It's just I know, and again, it depends from country to country, right? Like there's certain like Jamaica takes care of their athletes because it's one of their main exports. Russia. There's certain countries that do. Canada, nothing. So, anywho, we got a lot of basketball to talk. The game starts in about 5 minutes, so let's start. Let's start in the West.
Yeah,
would be where I think we should start. And keep a little Canadian content in the house, since we have cousins, SGA, Canadian. And do you know who that is? You met him.
Neil Alexander Walker.
They had a nice little chat in Detroit. They're cousins, apparently. Maybe everybody in Canada is we're all just related. I don't know.
No, they're actual cousins.
No, I know.
I just found this out too long. I didn't know this, Tone, like not too long ago. So SGA, his mother, and Neil's this kid Walker, his father, I think they're brother and sister. So they grew up together.
Oh,
so
and that's where he gets.
Yes.
Are you sure it's not Neil Alexander Walker's mother? because it looks
One
like
of-
she.
it's one of those two. So
Yes,
Walker's mother and SGA's.
that makes sense. Alexander.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like
SGA's mother and
dad
Alexander
and his mom are
father
brother and sister.
are
Because that makes sense because the last name is hyphenated.
Sure.
Alexander. Okay, so I agree. So he says so.
I didn't know they were cousins till I met him.
Yeah, you didn't know they were cousins when they met?
No, until I met
Oh,
him.
until you met him. Oh, he
Yeah.
told you they were cousins?
No, because when I met him, someone was like, Shay's cousin. Shay's cousin.
Someone said Shay's cousin. You're talking to Shay's cousin. All right. So my mom, that's Alexander Walker's mom, text SGA's dad. There you go. There's this. I should have just read it. It would have answered our question, saying, "Oh, it's war now."
Mm-hmm. Which goes back to probably the days when they were growing up. Like it's going to be you and me, my younger sister or my older sister or my big brother, and now our kids are in the NBA Western Conference Finals and they're going at it against each other, which I think is great. I think it's great for one. I think it's great for the family, and I just think it's great for basketball. I do.
Have you ever had to play against a relative?
No, and I'm so happy that I didn't. I'm so happy that I didn't have to go up against my cousin or my brother or anything like that. I'm so happy that I didn't have to do that because I just know how I am.
Who one of your cousins is? I wouldn't have wanted to go up against him either.
I
But
really didn't want to go up against my. That's probably one of the main reasons. It would have been great to play against Shaq, but then again, it wouldn't have been because it would not have been fun.
Would not have been fun because I don't think he's the type to go easy.
No.
I only ever got to play later on in life. Like we're in like a men's league and I played against my cousin and it was not surprisingly very physical because we used to play fight and kick. Like we used to be at the pool.
Yep.
Like the community pool. We didn't we didn't have a pool at our house and we would wrap towels around our fists and we would box.
Oh boy.
So I was the taller one with longer arms, so I would always just jab and just jab, and then when I would hit him in the nose and it would start to bleed, he would just scream kamikaze, and he would just like blitz, like attack me and just get
all the rules out the window now.
The game, and that's what the game felt like when we played basketball. So so it's not necessarily a good thing. I don't think they're going to do that, but I think it is good for basketball. People, even though like when Vince and T-Mac, distant third cousins, kind of came out, and everybody kind of loved that story. So I think this is closer. They're first cousins, right? Their mom and dad are brother and sister. So I think it's good because I think you're going to see game one, the respect and lightheartedness. Because I guarantee you he's going to guard. They're going to be guarding each other at some point. And then as the series goes on, you're going to see it like we're not related right now. Like, I love you.
We're not going to be as cool.
The series is over. Yeah.
We're not going to be as cool. So my cousin Raheem, our mothers are sisters. I come back from college to my freshman year, and his buddy Pooch, because my cousin played high school basketball, and his buddy Pooch is hyping him up. Raheem will bust your ass, J-Dub. And I'm just out shooting, hanging with the fellas, and he's gassing him up. My cousin, hey, Raheem will bust you. I'm like, man, chill out, yo. We just out here shooting. Next thing I know, while he's still gassing him, my cousin Raheem is like, you heard him? I will. I'm like, oh, cuz, please, let's not do this. And then sure enough, he keeps gassing, and enough people show up, and enough people start to come around. Your cousin is nicer than you. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. All right, so you want to play 1-on-1 to 5? Okay, sure. We'll play 1-on-1 to 5. And Tone, I'm not serious. I'm just I'm just screwing around. Well, he scores on me. Okay, sure, no big deal. Then he scores on me again. And then I'm like, all right, I gotta get serious. Unfortunately. I'm like, fuck, I gotta get serious with this dude. So he tries to score on me, and I block the shot, and I get the ball back. Go by him, score on him. And he's still talking. He gets up on me. Give him a jab, go right by him, and punch one on him. And his boys is like, "Ooh!" And
they turned quick.
He's still kind of yapping a little bit, but not much. And I hit a jump shot on him. Then it's 3-2. Then I go by him and I hit a layup on him. Now it's 4-2, which I really didn't want to do this, but I mean, this is how it turned. And then he's playing defense on me, and he's not. There's not a word out of him now, Tone. By the way, not one word out of him now. And then I lean over to him and I go, "A lot harder than you thought it was, huh?" I don't hear all that yapping now, do I? And he was like, "Man, you fast as hell." So I go by him and I score, and I was like, I really didn't want to do that. And I pointed to his man. I was like, "That's your fault because I did not want to do that. This is family right here.
You made this happen. I love
your
it.
fault.
I love it. Hey, yo, hey, and to Frank in the comments, so you know, you used to fight with your cousin John in the backyard. That same cousin I was talking to you about, his name was John too. It might be a thing with Johns. So
What?
in this series, you got OKC, who we all expected to be there. Minnesota, some expected to be there.
Yeah.
This is a legit matchup, right? Like, you've got a superstar potential, because I don't give everybody superstar status, as you know, but superstar potential in Ant and SGA, two prolific scorers, perimeter players. You've got a couple of bigs who are playing great. In obviously Gobert defensively, Randall has really stepped up in the playoffs for the first time ever.
Yep.
Not that they're on the same level, because I think there's more star power on that side, but you got Hartenstein and Chet with OKC. You also got J-Dub. You got Lou Dort, perimeter defenders. Mike Conley, I think, is almost the odd man out as the one really veteran guy. But the teams seem to match up really well. Like it's going to be a 7-game series. I want you to know, we saw an AI. I know you're scared of AI.
I hate it.
But there was an AI that came out and did the entire playoffs at the beginning and has been perfect thus far, picking the winning teams and all the games and everything. So I ran a little algorithm, and it said, I'm not going to give you all the details. I will post it at some point.
Yeah.
But it said that, my apologies, I was looking at something else. It said that Ant will be the MVP. He'll average just over 30 a game, 6.8 rebounds, 4.5 assists, 2.1 steals. And the Timberwolves will win in 6 because Minnesota's size, Gobert, Randall, and McDaniel, will be too much, and their defensive versatility will be too much for OKC's.
See, I actually had the opposite. I thought that Shea would do that, and I thought that their defensive versatility on the perimeter, particularly, Tone, because I'm looking at what they have with Caruso, Cason Wallace, Lou Dort, just what they have with those 3 guys. I think that Anthony Edwards, I think he can eat at the rim. I 100% think that it's food at the rim. I think he can go in there, and I think he can beat up on Chet. I think he can beat up on Hartenstein, who's ridiculously foul prone. I think he can rough those guys up. The problem is getting around that perimeter. I feel like the rim is where the goal is in Fort Knox, but I feel like the perimeter is the gate to get into Fort Knox. So getting by all of those guys, I feel like that's going to be really difficult. Now the argument can be made that Ant, there's nobody that can stay in front of him, particularly in this series. But then I think about guys like Alex Caruso, and I feel like how connected they are defensively, right? I feel like the help isn't far away. So it's not like Lou Dort is consistently left on an island, even though he can handle himself. J-Dub isn't consistently left on an island. I think that the help is maybe a step away. So if Ant gets by J-Dub, Cason Wallace is there digging. If he gets by Lou Dort, SGA is there digging. I don't feel like the help is that far away, but I feel like if I feel like if Ant can get in the lane, he can get whatever he wants at the rim. The problem is, Tone, is the same thing I felt about this Denver series. Oklahoma City does such a great job in turning turnovers into buckets fast. And what they remind me of is that Golden State Warrior team, how they used to come out in the third quarter and the game was like +8. Next thing you know, it's 20. And you're like, what the hell? How did we get here this quick? So that's kind of what Oklahoma City does in terms of their defense, where they can go on a 6-0 run in like less than 30 seconds when it's nothing. And that's the thing that I worry about, considering who Minnesota's ball handlers are. I can appreciate your vet in Mike Conley being one of your primary ball handlers. I can appreciate I keep wanting to say SG. I can appreciate Ant being one of your better ball handlers, 100%. But Tone, I've always felt like this. I was taught this as a youngster. The ball moves faster than people. And if you're going to hold on to the ball, if you're going to be a ball stopper, that's what's going to create turnovers with this Minnesota team. That's what's going to create turnovers for Oklahoma City. And the last thing that you want is to get in a turnover battle where they're turning turnovers into points, because I think Oklahoma City does a much better job of taking care of basketball than Oklahoma City.
And you saw that, right? We saw that with OKC in the last series, where every time they'd get those turnovers, get those steals, they'd get out and run. And that was the difference in this, really, in the series, definitely in Game 7 against Denver.
Yes.
So
they were down like 12 and then won by they're up like 18.
Yeah. Just it takes that small lead and it turns it into a big one that sometimes can feel insurmountable.
Right.
I'm with you on this though. So AI is the only one I think that's picking Minnesota, because I'm with you. I think, like I said, they match up well. Ant is going to the good/bad thing. I think you're right. I think Ant can get to the rim and will be able to score on those guys because they don't really have they don't have a Gobert, right? That's going to alter a lot of shots as much as Gobert will, right? And you're right. Being foul prone, you got to be careful. Him getting to the rim, though, and him becoming almost too offensive minded. This is going to sound crazy what I'm about to say, but we watched games where when he goes off sometimes, he forgets to get the other people involved, and he can't score 110 points and win the game, right? He needs to get, Gobert needs to get his, putbacks and his dunks and his, little stuff that he's going to get. You need to get. Conley's not really a scorer. Where does that secondary offense come from in Minnesota? Right now, it's been Randall. So I look at it and I'm like, well, if you can really focus on shutting down Randall, who we've seen him not play well in the playoffs.
Sure.
So if you can shut him down, even if Ant, look, I know it's one game, but it's a microcosm of what I've seen throughout the season. When we saw how much did Ant go for that day in Detroit? Was it almost 50?
52.
Was it 52? Went for 52. And as we were watching it and lost, we're sitting there saying, Ant is just doing everything. Everybody else is just standing around. So if they get into a game like that in this series where, hey, we're going to shut down Randall. Okay, Gobert had that one 20-20 game, but he's not really that guy. Conley's not that guy. Where if they're able, that's where I think the key is to them. It's look, okay, you want to slow down Ant, don't get me wrong, but if they can really put the pressure and slow down Randall, you have to have that secondary scorer, or you lose. Naz Reid can't be your secondary scorer. Stop it.
He's him though. Not the best,
right? So that's where I think their key might be to winning the series.
And what you said is valid, but I think that I left out something really important. To your point, I think Rudy Gobert can be dominant on this front line. I do, and I feel like he could be.
He's the X factor, right?
If he can be dominant on his front line.
Yeah.
And the reason why I feel like that is not necessarily because of his ability to score, because I don't want to hit Rudy. I said this earlier to the guys. I'm not looking for Rudy on pick and dives. I'm not looking for Rudy. I'm throwing him the ball on the block to go to work. I'm not looking for any of that. What I am looking for, though, is I'm looking for him to finish around the rim. When Rudy is diving to the basket and he gets big and he's asking for the ball and he can finish around the rim, I'm 100% going to him. On top of that, I feel like he's a better rebounder than Chet. I think he's a better rebounder than Hartenstein. And I think he's more of a paint presence than both of those guys. With that being said, to your point, Tone, I think your secondary guy is the difference in this series. Yeah. So as good as Julius Randle has been playing, right? As good as Julius Randle has been playing, because I'm in the minority. I thought that there was a time when Julius Randle was a top 25 player in the game. I felt like that was a legit.
Definitely in the minority with that. Yes,
I know that. I felt like he was a top 25 player, and the reason why I was in the minority because it didn't translate to the playoffs. Right. The game that he has, it was an elite game. He was an All-Pro. He was an All-Star. Now he couldn't.
Yeah, but when you're dropping 6 to 8 points per game in the playoffs,
That's where the problem is. And see, so when I'm averaging 22 or 23 a game in a regular season, and that average drops to 17 in the playoffs on way less efficiency, I can't. I'm trying to justify you being a top 25 player. I can't do it. No, I can't. However, well, Tone, we're in a space now where he's actually performing up to that level now.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing that. So
In
because
fact,
he's doing
this season, granted, because of the offensive, he's actually averaging more points per game in the playoffs than he did in the regular season. So he did the opposite.
Which I got a nugget for you, Tone. How about this for an idea? Draymond Green said there's only 2 guys he felt like he did not win his matchup against in the playoffs. One of them was Julius Randle. The other one was Pascal Siakam. And what happened to the Toronto Raptors that year?
Well, they won the chip.
They won the NBA championship, Tone. Now with that being said, and we'll get to the Knicks in a little bit, but I feel like Julius Randle is playing so much better because he's playing within himself. I don't see any of the pouting. I don't see any of the lagging when I say him not getting back on defense. Now,
right?
I think it's largely due to him just being in a contract year. That's
there you go. Okay.
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do. I definitely think that has a lot to do with him being in a contract year. So because he's in a contract year,
give me a skill, like a good, like not a bum. Because listen, anything we want to say about Julius Randle, he is a very skilled player. You give me a skilled player in a contract year who's been underperforming, I'll win with that guy.
And that's very much what's going on. I feel like that's very much what's going on right now. He's very much playing within himself. He's always been one of the better passing bigs in the game. Tony, I don't know if I told you this, but in 22, when he was with the Knicks, he led the league in kickouts for threes, driving kickouts for threes. And Giannis was second in the league to Julius Randle. And the Knicks were number 1 in the league in threes in kickouts for threes. And that was largely due to Julius Randle. So he was never a guy who didn't pass the basketball. But
no, I think people forget, not to sort of cut you off, but I think people forget too, the Knicks started getting good before Brunson got there.
It was working.
Right? Like Randall took them to the playoffs, then he underperformed. Now I think Brunson took them to the next level, and we'll again get to the Knicks in a minute. Mm-hmm. But Randall had got them into the playoffs and gave them some hope before he got there.
And it was working. It was working. This is the same team that when Julius Randle got on that Knicks team, Tony, they had just finished 5 straight 50-loss seasons. They were garbage. They were an awful team. And Julius Randle comes in and he's and by the way, they got him on the cheap. They got him at like $40 million. Not a season either. This was like a 3-year deal for like $40 million. They got him on the cheap. And they end up trading him because the money that they're paying Cat, that's the kind of dough that Julius Randle was looking for.
Right.
But I say that to say, in this series, I've always felt like your stars cancel each other out. Even when I was growing up watching the game, like Shaq's going to cancel out Duncan. Duncan is going to cancel out Shaq. Who's going to cancel out Bryant? That's the $1 million question. Who is going to cancel out? Jordan is the best player in the series. But with Jordan being the best player, okay, who's going to cancel out Malone? Who's going to cancel out Pippen's production? That kind of thing. I always felt like the secondary player or the second option, or the second or the third guy, he's going to be the difference in the series, because what you asking now, when you take that guy out of the series, Tone, you asking the second or the third. When you take the second or the third guy out of the series, now you're asking the number 1 guy. He now has to do even more, and that's a lot of pressure on him. A lot.
It's interesting because that's why I kind of brought it up. But so who are you going to bet your money on? J-Dub or Randall? And that might be the difference in this series. We both picked OKC. AI picked Minnesota. So speaking of Minnesota,
Young, do you put him up there?
What?
As a top man
in the game right now?
In the game right now?
Yep.
Become top 5 if he win now?
Nick, we're not. Shut up,
Top
Nick.
5. Nigga's 23. But he got no all-star on his team.
if Ant wins an NBA title, so if AI is correct and he gets out of this round and goes on to win an NBA title, will he be top 5 all-time shooting guard.
Top 5 all-time shooting guards? No, I'm not doing that. Not at 23. I will tell you this though, Tone.
So who's your top 5 shooting guards right now, as is?
Jordan, Bryant, Wade, Drex, Reggie Miller.
Well, if he wins a title,
you have Allen
Iverson, Jerry West, Steph Curry, those guys, they're in a different space.
top combo guards.
I don't have those guys in the same category.
Reggie. So, does he surpass Reggie with a win?
No.
At least, okay. Wait, because I won't rank him until he retires.
Right.
So if he wins a title this year,
right,
and let's remember he is the Dragon Slayer.
Yep.
Right. Took out LeBron, took out Luka, took out Steph, took out if he takes out SGA too, who's probably going to be the MVP this year. Like he takes out everybody.
100%.
Jokic, yeah. So if he wins a title and continues his success, right? Because we need 10 or 12 years of success.
Sure.
He'll have that title over Reggie.
And the reason why I can get with that logic is because the operative word here, Tone, is if he does what?
If he continues to play at this.
Because I can tell you right now, Tone, in 2006, when Dwayne Wade won the finals MVP and they won the NBA championship, I had to listen to Dwayne Wade is in the same conversation that he's better than Bryant, and I was about to crash.
Yeah, that's crazy. But see, that's the problem I always have, right? So if the best part is they all say, well, titles don't mean anything. But if Ant wins this one, is he a top 5 shooting guard?
100%.
Titles don't mean anything. But if Jalen Brunson wins it, is he the greatest Knick of all time?
Oh.
Titles don't mean anything, but how in the same breath can you keep saying titles don't mean anything and then say, but if this player wins a title, it puts him over another one?
That's double talk right there. You can't.
Do you know that I posted a simple graphic on Instagram, just because people didn't understand the difference between durability and longevity, and I'm like, they're two different things. And I said, for example, here's John Stockton. Look at his durability, right? 75 years, and he played 82 games 74 times.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron, 22 years, peak longevity, amazing, but he's only played 82 games once, right? That's peak longevity. That's durability difference. Right. And you know what most of the responses were from the LeBronaholics? But did Stockton ever win a title?
Oh,
and I'm like, what the hell does that have to do with
those two things are not the same thing, Tony. No, they're not. We're talking about durability and longevity. Okay, I'm durable, which means I can do it. Longevity means I was doing it for a long time. I played at a high level.
Right.
Okay, those two things are not the same thing. With that also, with that also being said, I can also make the argument with Anthony Edwards that him growing into the player that he's grown into, I can put him in the argument of being the best guard in the league. And I said this to you, Tone, last year. I told you that within 5 years, I think Anthony Edwards is going to be the best guard in the league. I think that within the next 3 years, he's going to be the best 2 guard in the league. There's people who think he's that now. I still don't think he's better than Donovan Mitchell. That's just I'm in the minority. But I felt like within the next 3 years, I think within the next 3 years, he's going to be the league MVP. And I think within the next 5 years, tops, by age 28, he'll be the best guard in the league. I'm on paper. I'm on record saying that. Off the strength that looking at him shoot the long ball and how much better he got at shooting the long ball, I feel like the other aspects of his game, I'm not saying that they can improve like that because I think that was a dramatic jump. Right. I think that him being able to shoot the long ball at a 40-plus clip and lead the league in threes, as opposed to last year, I think he was barely shooting in the mid-30s and he didn't shoot nearly these many. I'm not saying that.
I think he's going to go down a little next year.
I think that I think that there's a difference between this and this. And I think that we're gonna get somewhere in the middle, because I don't think Anthony Edwards is a 45% long ball shooter. I don't think he's that good, but I also think he's better than 35%. I don't see him being like a 35 or 36% long ball shooter off the strength of his shot selection. I think it's a little bit better, but with long ball shooters, it varies because you're a Steph Curry guy. So you know that Steph Curry can go 2 for 10. You know that Steph Curry could go 3 for 12, but then Steph can also have a stretch where he's lighting it up. He's 6 for 11, and he's 5 for 10 for a stretch because one, he's a better shooter, and two, his shot selection is better, right? So with Anthony Edwards, and I don't want to sound like I'm going on a rant here, but Anthony Edwards, I feel like the other aspects of his game are going to improve. They may not improve like his long ball. I'm not going to go that far, Tone, but I do think hearing him say stuff like, I've been watching tape of Luka, that tells me that he's looking to become a better passer.
I give him so much credit because I actually do have him. Now, it might just be because I'm not a Donovan Mitchell fan, although Ant, by the way, did just get a technical. So he better be careful. That's early in the game to get a tech. Oh, no. If he gets another one, he's out. Although he started off already with 5 points. Randall has 5 points, and they're up 10-6. Mm-hmm. That being said, I like and I don't like this. Someone pointed out to me, they're like, a lot of people. So sorry, let me go back. I have Ant as the best 2 guard in the NBA right now today.
Sure.
And part of that is because he's improved his 3-point shooting so much because he could do everything else offensively from a scoring perspective. So in today's world, you need a 3-point shot, and him hitting 40% of it, that's fantastic.
Can't live at the 2 guard spot without being able to shoot the 3 in the game today.
In today's game. And someone pointed out to me, we're so glad, and I'm paraphrasing the quote, but we're so glad that he didn't fall for that he's the next Mike and just focus on, a turner, a fade away from the post and go into the rim. Like, no, he did something that Mike never did and said he didn't want to do, which was he became a significantly better 3-point shooter.
Sure.
So I like that about him. What I don't like in the same breath is because it's one of the things I complained about with Tatum, where sometimes they fall in love with shooting that 3 and they forget the other aspects of their game that, hey, when that's not falling, like you said, when they go on a 2 of 10 stretch or 1 of 4, it's like, hey, don't shoot the next one, get to the rim, get an easy basket, get a foul, go to the foul, like do something else to get you going. So that scares me that he's good. 40% is, I can say he's so good at shooting the 3 that he might fall in love with it when it's like, hey, when you're on, keep shooting, but don't forget when you're not, do the other thing. Don't make it easy on the defense. Don't just just catch one dribble, shoot the 3, right? But keep them honest.
But the thing is, and this is coming from ladies and gentlemen, this is coming from a long ball shooter.
Yeah, right. So
right.
This
is coming from a long ball shooter. So it's the gift and the curse too, Tone, because Tone, you could go 0 for 3. What are you thinking on the next shot, Tone?
Me personally, shoot again.
And you Tone is 0 for 6 right now. Tone, what's the next shot?
Yeah, I'm making the next one.
It's going in. I will go 0 for 15, but I'm shooting 16 of them. That's what long ball. That's
15. I'm going to hit the next 12.
Exactly.
Love averages, right?
That's the mentality of a long ball shooter, right? That's the mentality of
you shoot until you miss, and then you shoot until you make. That's what. But I didn't have Ant's ability to get to the rim.
No,
I didn't have Ant's athleticism, right? Like I when I teach these guys what to do, it's always like, hey, your first shot shouldn't be a 3. Right? Get to the rim, get a layup, hit a little short jumper, get yourself going, because every basket you make, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and then move out because it's gonna be easier for you to score. Yep. If you have shot a couple and you've missed, or made them, even more importantly, if you made a couple, well, what's the next time? Then you just pump, fake, and drive because they're gonna jump. You've made a couple. So it's always mixing it up for if you have the ability to do that. Look, there's guys that just don't. Like, I wouldn't say that to JJ Redick or Mike Miller or Craig Hodges or Steve Kerr. But even those guys did it, though, on occasion, those other things.
Put the ball on the floor, one dribble.
Right, but for the most part, hey, that's my job is to shoot 3, so that's what I'm going to do most of the time. So, he has the ability, and I think those other things will open up. It'll give him more open shots because you can't press up on him thinking, well, he's going to shoot a 3, because if you do, he's going to blow right by you.
Going to blow your door.
And the only thing that drives me nuts is when they do press up on them, him and Tatum, for example, and they still shoot it, or they do a step back, and I'm like,
because that's what the game is today, though, Tone. But
to
expand on this point, why are we in a space? Because it goes back to your point. Why are we in a space that Anthony Edwards, who I don't think he's close to how good he can really be. And and here we are today. If he wins the NBA championship, we're putting him in the same conversations with Bryant and Jordan. If he wins the NBA championship, like, wait a minute, like this guy is a fantastic athlete. This guy has expanded his game, but there's something to be said about being able to do something great for a long time.
Right.
And the fact that you just won the NBA championship, that doesn't mean that we get to talk about you like we talk about him, or like we talk about him. Jordan was the best two guard in the league for a decade.
And remember, did I show you my 94 top 10 list?
You did not.
Oh, it was on NBA Max Sunday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on Sportsville. So I found it. I had a notebook at my parents', and where I put all my stuff. And so I looked it up because someone said to me, "You don't put people in." I said, "I've never put people in an all-time list until they retired. No one, other than now. I've made one exception, which says a lot, right? That I've made one exception in 40 plus years." That being said, I had so winning championships doesn't necessarily. I had him at 4
at that time in 1994.
At that time in 94, 93, 94. After he retired the first time, I had him at 4.
After 3 championships.
After 3 championships, I had him at 4. How can I put? Now I get it. That's all time. But how can I put Ant top 5 at his position all time? I have a good night.
Go to bed.
No, I'll come later.
You'll come later. Okay. I said, how can you put him at 5 all time when on the strength of 1 chip? And I get it. There's other guys that have 0. But if we're gonna say, rings aren't the most important thing, and it's a team accomplishment, and all these other excuses we're gonna make for other people, how is it all of a sudden 1 and he's in?
Now, this is the dilemma that I have, because I go back and forth with this so much, Tone, because if you're going to tell me that championships matter, and I've said this more than once, more than twice, more than 3 times, if you're going to tell me that championships matter, because that's what this is about. This is about Anthony Edwards being a champion, and now this puts him in a different space. Even though Bryant is a 5-time champion, Wade is a 3-time champion. Not only is Wade a 3-time champion, but Jordan is a 6-time champion, right? Drexler did win the NBA championship. That's good. That's going on. Reggie Miller did get to the NBA championship as the man.
Yeah.
So if Anthony Edwards' career ended today, he's ahead of Reggie Miller because he won the NBA championship. So if we're gonna do that, and we're talking about championships, and I've said this to you in the past, Tom, whenever you're talking about the all-time great players, you got to talk about Bill Russell first. Because this is your stance.
That's all that matters. Then yes, then he's the GOAT. Yeah.
But then the goalposts get moved.
And let me be clear: if that is your stance, and you're consistent with that, I'm okay if that's what you said. Is if you say the point of the game is winning championships, right? And no matter how you do it, who's on your team, who you play who's in front of you play who they're with. You're not the GM, so whoever they put on your team, whoever's in front of you to play. That's who you play. So whoever wins the most, that's who's the best. I'm okay as long as you're consistent and say, okay, Russell's won. Sam Jones? No, yeah, no. Sam Jones. Yeah. Oh yeah, Sam Jones. John Havlicek. As long as you got that order,
because that clearly is what matters the most.
Yeah, then it's okay
if we're doing that. Because again, Anthony Edwards, for all intents and purposes, I think he's got a lot left in his career. I've said this to you before, Tone, that I feel like what's going on with Anthony Edwards right now would be the same thing that was going on if he ends up winning the championship. It'd be the same thing that's going on with Dwayne Wade in 2006.
Yeah.
When he won the NBA championship. I feel like it's the exact same thing. I feel like Anthony Edwards will think, yo, I'm the best player in the world. I beat Joker. I beat KD. I beat James. I beat Luka. I beat SGA. I beat Curry. I beat all of these dudes. I'm the best player in the world. And you can't argue that about me.
And I'm okay with him thinking it.
Yes.
I don't necessarily like them coming out and saying it, but I do like him thinking. I think every player should think they're the best.
Sure.
And then afterwards they can admit it. Like I remember Barkley after the fact saying, I always thought no one was better at me in basketball. That was always what I thought and my mentality. And then he goes, but then after that Phoenix Bulls series, he's like, this mother effer is better than me.
Better than me. I'm not that good. I'm good. I'm just not that good.
And as long as you still believe you're the best until you're done, that's fine. Like, I'm okay with that. But heck, even if you do, OKC, look at that. Where are we with timing? Because last time I ruined it for you and I gave you the answer.
I'm at 4:45 and OKC is up by a bucket.
Okay. You're at 4:45?
Yes, I'm still in the first quarter, about 4:30 now.
Oh, okay. Okay. So we're about the same. Okay, good. Because I hated that one time where I'm like, oh, game's over, and you're like, what? What happened?
I remember against Cleveland. Yeah.
I was like, oh, my bad, bro. All right. We're gonna get to the East.
Yep. But
first, we're gonna do my favorite part of the show. We're gonna do some of the stuff that's making news. You and I are gonna fight about this one, I think.
What's that?
I don't know. Let's see. Or maybe we're not. I don't know. The era of the super team in the NBA is totally and officially over. To me, this is a cause for celebration, says Greeny, aka Mike Greenberg. Do you agree or disagree with Mike?
I do. I do agree with Mike Greenberg that the super team era is over. I think gone are the days of. Oh, well, wait a minute, though, Tone. I want to make sure that I get this right because your Lakers. I got Magic. I got Jabal. I got James Worthy. I got Byron Scott. I got Michael Cooper. I got AC Green. That's a bomb squad. But how was that crew put together? That crew was put together primarily through the draft. It was built, right? I think gone are the same thing with the Celtics with Bird and McHale and Robert Parrish, Dennis Johnson. They got him in a trade, right? So, but the rest of those guys, I mean, it was basically put together through the draft. I think that in terms of the super team, that's what it's going to look like. That's what we're going to be calling super teams in the future. What we did back then when teams were built through the draft, because what the CBA is today, it won't allow KD and Clay and Steph and Draymond to be on the same team. It won't. The CBA today will not allow for Giannis and Curry and Jimmy Butler. To your point, Tone, Jimmy Butler is on the books next year for $60 million. Curry is on the books for $60 million. Add in Giannis, whomever you're going to trade. I think he's on the books for like close to $50 million. That's going to destroy your salary cap. And I think that the CBA has now done away with that sort of stuff. So we're not going to. I think the days of putting together bomb squads through free agency and trades, I don't think that's. I think those days are over.
I've never gotten a sufficient answer on what a super team is. And I've always said, I don't believe in the term. I think the term's bullshit. I think the term is used by people who want to say, well, that team only won because they were a super team. Oh, that my favorite player only lost because he faced a super team. And it was we didn't have that term 20 years ago. I don't think we had that term 15 years ago.
In 2010, I didn't hear the term super team. No,
I didn't. We didn't have that term. It is a new term created by people calling teams from the 90s and the 80s and the 70s super teams. No, because how many times have we seen teams put a bunch of stars together, whether they are in their prime, past or prime? I don't care, because there's no definition of what a super team is, and they fail, or someone gets hurt, or they ridiculously fail. Like, you want to talk about a team, my Lakers, when they had like Rondo, LeBron, Carmelo, Dwight Howard, AD, by any stretch of the imagination, you would say that was a damn super team.
Right.
How'd they do? Oh, a couple injuries, and they didn't make the damn playoffs. Well, how super was that team?
Not super. Not that super.
The 96 Bulls were a super team. They had Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman was 37 years old. Yeah. You said he was past his prime when he was 29 when the Bulls beat the Pistons, and then 8 years later he's part of a super team. What? Like that? So that's why I say, like, you're just pulling out of the air to prove your point. And that's why I don't like it. That being said,
Right.
there you go. See, the Warriors are a super team. Why? Because they brought over fairly, justly Kevin Durant, added to 3 guys that they drafted.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
How does that make them super? Now, they played super. They're one of, if not the best teams ever to play in the league, and probably beat any team in a 7-game series ever created.
Right.
That doesn't make them a super team because they still could have lost. Because guess what? All the same players were on that team in 2019, and they lost to the Raptors. Oh, well, because they got hurt. Yeah, exactly, which can happen anytime. So that's why I don't like the term. That being said, there's going to be a loophole where you can bring these types of players together. For example, right now you have LeBron and Luka on the Lakers. You have Steph and Butler on the Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
But you also have guys like on Austin Reeves or Draymond Green or others that you're going to be able to pay because they're on your books a max contract to. And what you do is you take your Draymond Green, who's making, and I don't have the numbers in front of me right now, but
4-year deal for 20. He had a 4-year deal for $100 million at like 25.
there you go. So you make it $25 million a year. You slap in another guy for $10 million. You throw in 3 of your draft picks and 75 second-round draft picks, and you go to Milwaukee, and Milwaukee says, well, whatever. And again, none of that makes sense, but financially, now I bring Giannis to a team with Steph and Butler. And everyone's going to scream that that's a super team. No matter how old Steph is, no matter how inconsistent Butler has been from playoffs to the regular season, etc., and Giannis being hurt a couple of times and being a first, second round knockout, they're going to call that a super team. You can make it happen, right? LeBron can easily, right, take a lower contract. They re-sign Austin Reeves.
Well, see, that's the thing, though, Tone.
And they have 2 guys that are making 20-25 million. Now 45 million goes the other way. Boom, super team done. So it's harder, so much harder now with the new CBA. 100%, I agree.
Right.
But you're gonna find, there's gonna be. If you think about the Warriors still could have built the way they built their team because they drafted Clay, they drafted Draymond, late drafted Draymond and drafted Curry, had the ankle injury, got him on the cheap, and then they moved almost all, a lot of their bench guys and were able to make that KD move. They still would, under these rules, I looked at it because that was the main one that I looked at. Mm-hmm. They could today under the first and second apron rules, they could still make that happen.
Well, sure.
So again, it can happen, but you're right. The days of, hey, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, LeBron, we've released everybody from our team, and we're going to sign you.
Right, and if that's it,
that's probably gone.
And to your point about being able to pay Steph Curry and getting Steph Curry on the cheap, well, that also goes down to being lucky too, Tone. Because I'm not just going to get Curry on the cheap, right? I'm not just going to get Draymond Green on the cheap. I mean, Draymond Green, I end up getting him in the second round. How many second rounders actually pan out to be what Draymond panned out to be? I mean, I got to get lucky in that aspect. Don't get me wrong. I am doing my homework and I am paying attention. I am going to pay attention.
Best player in the world now is a second round pick. So
that's what I'm saying. I am paying attention. I'm not saying that I'm not paying attention to who's available, but I don't think there's anybody in 2012 when Draymond got drafted that, this guy's going to be a generational defender. This guy's going to be one of the best players. No, nobody was thinking that. So in turn, you end up getting a guy who's an integral part of a championship team on the cheap. You get Curry, we saw the ability to shoot. I don't think that there's anybody who thought that, one, he'd be that great of a shooter, and number two, that he had bad wheels, which means that, okay, we can get him on the cheap. I think that gone are the days, when I think about super teams, I think gone are the days where Anthony Edwards is in Minnesota and he loses in round 1 to the Houston Rockets. And then Giannis says, you know what? I'm going up to Minnesota with Anthony Edwards. And then the general manager, in the process of him saying that he can get him, that he's going up to Minnesota, says, I can get Jason Tatum too, just so you know.
And that's why I don't think that those days are as done as you think, because you have Boston as example that has Tatum for $60 million, but they also have Jaylen Brown for $50, and then they have Porzingis for $50. So, or sorry, 30 something. So
They
if
got Drew Holiday for 35. They pay everybody, Tone, by the way.
right, but hear me out now. So Tatum is hurt, and so I'm gonna make a deal with the devil a little bit. But I'm gonna say, okay, I'm gonna keep Tatum, but I know he's on the shelf for next year. I'm gonna take that $50 million of Jaylen Brown, and I'm going to package it with a draft pick and turn that into, and other players, don't get me wrong, a disgruntled Ant. Let's say Ant gets swept this round. He's like, I'm out of Minnesota. I hate it. Or Devin Booker or Donovan Mitchell, who's like, hey, it's not working in Cleveland. Move me. And they're like, well, who can we get? Oh, we can get Jaylen Brown in a first. Cool. Let's do that. So what I'm saying is, I haven't thought about this, who the players are, but I'm gonna let's use Donovan Mitchell. So I'm gonna move Donovan Mitchell. And now I'm gonna take that $30 million from Porzingis. See, and that's where I think GMs are going to have to be like creative. They're going to have to start almost overpaying some of their own guys, right? That they can because of the bird rights, etc., and then make those moves. So now I'm going to take the Porzingis is 30 and Sam Hauser's 10. I'm going to take that $40 million and I'm going to move that with other like lower guys and draft picks again for Giannis, for KD. Let's say for KD. So now I have a 2 in Donovan Mitchell, a 3 of Jason Tatum, and my 4 is Kevin Durant. You're going to call that a super team all day long, right?
Yes, you are. 100%
Yes, you are.
I am.
And I made it work, and I'm still within the rules of the NBA collective bargaining. So they're going to have to get better, but it still can be done. But yes, it's significantly harder, and the GMs are going to have to be really.
That's what the problem is.
I haven't even gone and actually worked this out, and I've already given you 2-3 examples where you could make it work. And let's be honest, the NBA is stupid, right? The NBA is stupid. You're going to give up all your players to get those 3 or 4 guys, and they'll give you other guys, right? We saw it in Phoenix, even though it still didn't work. Remember, I was yelling and screaming, "Don't make any deals with Phoenix." And what did they do? They gave them up, but no, let them sign a bunch of G leaguers and see how they do with 3 stars and 10 G leaguers. Probably no worse than what they actually did, but the point.
Tone, you make a compelling argument with how you're going to get KD. You make a compelling argument of how you're going to put together these stars. But one, you still have to fill out the rest of your roster. That's number one. Number two, you make it with the CBA. You now make it ridiculously difficult to do other things. Now that's what I'm thinking about more than anything. That's where the CBA becomes an even bigger problem, because if the CBA wasn't in place where, okay, the buyout market, that's done. You can't get involved in that no more. Mid-level exception guys, okay, that's out. You can't get involved with that anymore. If the CBA didn't do that, then maybe the super team still is realistic. But when you hamper me that way, so now gone are the days of bagging Kevin Love in the buyout market. That's over. I can't do that now. Right? Gone are the days where I can pick up,
which by the way, that never should have been a thing anyways. That never should have been a thing anyways, that I can drop a guy after the trade deadline who's has been a star in this league, an all
still good, by the way.
And I can just buy him out, and then I can just bring him over right. Hey, you ready for the playoffs? You need 2 weeks to get ready with their playbook? Cool, let's go.
How you been? You good?
That's nonsense.
Why don't you come help us win the NBA championship?
I don't know if you remember my suggestion. I said, you want the buyout market? No problem. Only non-playoff teams can sign them. Go ahead, buy them out before the playoffs, but only non-playoff teams can sign them. Watch if they'll take the buyout. They'll be like, "No, I'm good right where I am."
Hell no, I'm not doing that.
No.
I'm not going to Charlotte.
Signing Kevin Love for their last 5 games of the season.
I'm not going. I can't get on a playoff team now. In fact, that's why I'm getting bought out. It kind of defeats the purpose of me getting bought out, because I want to go play in Miami and help them get to the finals. That completely defeats the purpose of me doing that. So yeah, it's
20 at the end of the first, by the way, is kind of low scoring, but yeah. So let's stick on. Okay, so no, we got way off the topic. So you like the fact. So you think super teams are dead, but he said let's celebrate it. Do you think we should celebrate that the super teams?
I'm celebrating it because let's be clear. I think that it was really good for the league. I'm not going to celebrate something that's not around anymore. That was good for the league. I mean, it was good that James and Wade and Bosh and those guys got together. It was, as much as I didn't like KD jumping on that Warriors team, it was good for the league.
It made
It was.
must see TV. You
It
love
was
them.
must see.
You love them.
It was must see TV.
You
No doubt.
loved them and wanted to support them, or you hated them and wanted to see them lose.
It was no in between, Tone. You either was with the Warriors or you wanted to crash. You wanted their bus to crash. One of those two.
People love dynasties, and
Yes.
they love seeing the top dog get knocked off. So there's
Yes.
always a reason to watch.
Yes.
That being said, the last time we had this much parity, and they've now surpassed it,
Mm-hmm.
Raptors in 2019. That's putting pandemic in 2020 is crazy. Lakers in 2020, you disrespectful punks. Bucks in 2021, Warriors in 2022. That was actually a big surprise championship. Let's be honest. Nuggets in 2023, Celtics last year. I had them repeating, but they stunk.
Yep.
And now you have one of these four teams, two of which, I guess, because OKC technically in Seattle, although I hate that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no, you know what? I don't care. The NBA is wrong about everything. They don't even know how many years they've been in existence, so I'm going to correct them. Mm-hmm. 3 of these 4 teams have never won a championship. Oklahoma City Thunder, that team, that name, that city, have never won a championship.
Correct.
Pacers have never won. Minnesota has never won. Obviously, the Knicks haven't won since the 70s. Mm-hmm. The last time we had this much parity. It's interesting that everyone is applauding this and saying, wow, this is so wonderful. We have so much parity, different teams winning every single year. Look how great the NBA is. It's so star-studded. And the same dude in the next sentence will poop on the 70s and say, what a terrible generation, what a decade. No team won back-to-back. They sucked. Only the Knicks, I think, maybe won 2 in that decade.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Right. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But with that being said, Tone, I feel like in this particular era, very much like the 70s, and I don't know if you heard me say this, Tone, but I feel like it's more your turn than it is your time. What I mean when I say that is those units like with Shaq and Kobe, those units with the Bulls, those units with your Lakers, with Magic and Jabbar. I felt like those guys were going to be around for a while because those teams stayed together for a long period of time. So I felt like the Lakers I knew Magic was going to be on the Lakers for a long time. I knew Bird was going to be on the Celtics for a long time. I knew that Jordan was going to be with the Bulls. It was just a matter of building that thing and it getting better, right? I knew that was going to go on. In this particular era, we don't have that. I got more teams that, okay, it's your turn now. There isn't a specific team, and I can't say how wrong I've been because I thought that the Milwaukee Bucks were going to repeat until Middleton got hurt. And then I thought that Denver could do it again.
Oh, okay.
Then I thought that Denver could do it again. And then they got bounced. I had the Celtics winning the NBA championship this year and going back to back. So I think that I live in an era now where it's your turn instead of your time. Because I think I'm going to see a different Boston Celtic team next year. I think that there's going to be a lot of change on that Boston Celtic team. With that being said, Tone, I also think that we're going to see a lot of these teams build their units through the draft like they did years ago. And if they're able to do that, then they're able to hold on to their young guys on their rook deals. They're able to hold on to those guys so they have a shorter window. So we do it, not a shorter window. Let me rephrase that. They got a longer window. So I can hold on to my guys a little bit longer, and I have a bigger window to win, as opposed to if I got Giannis and Steph and Butler on the same team. This thing got to work right now. This thing doesn't have to work in 2 or 3 years. This thing has to work right now. These teams that I've seen in the past with Jordan and Scottie Pippen, I mean, they were together for a long time. So I felt like when they won, they had it figured out. They're going to be around for a while.
So don't you think? Look, barring injury, because really, you'd like, let's be honest. If you said Milwaukee, you thought they were going to repeat until Chris Middleton got hurt.
Sure.
So if he doesn't get hurt, right? Boston. Does Tatum's injury change the outcome with the Knicks? I don't know. Is it Porzingis' injury with that? I don't know. But there's opportunities if healthy. And to your point, what we just talked about, I think not many GMs are as smart as I am and will be as creative. So there's going to be teams built through the draft, through little trades here and there, and the team I think, dynamic, because that's the whole purpose of this, is to keep teams together longer and get people to root. Listen, the NBA wants you to root for the team. They don't want you to root for the player because team loyalty sells more jerseys, because you don't just want a LeBron Laker jersey. You're going to want a Reeves Laker jersey. You're going to want a Luka Laker jersey. You're going to want you might not want a Hachimura, but you're going to want
football is what you're telling me, Tone.
You're going to want multiple players' jerseys from your team versus, I have a Cavs LeBron jersey and a Heat LeBron jersey and Laker LeBron jersey. No, I want to get 4 or 5. I like my closet, or Fluent Junior's closet now, has from the Lakers, right? A Shaq jersey, a Kobe jersey. Mikan. I got to get him a Mikan one. But there's multiple Laker jerseys. He's got a Warriors jersey. A Clay jersey. Like, so there's, you'll get the occasional superstar, like he has an Iverson and a Jordan, of course, but it becomes more team centric because that's better for the league.
I agree with that.
And so this actually, it's interesting, although it's made super teams more difficult. This may actually create another dynasty, because you're going to get a team that does something right, that brings in a bunch of guys at the right time for the right price, and they stick. Right? Like OKC, as an example, they're young, right? What are their average ages? What, 24? Like what?
Yes, 25.
25. So if they just say, forget it, we're going to pay everybody, and everyone's happy winning and in their role, because some guys will want to do more. This team is a team that could win 3 out of 5 if they win this year and they learn how to win, because I always say that's really important. And they can pay them and just keep them. And then now they've, without even realizing it, they've forced themselves into a dynasty because, they've paid all these guys, no one else is going to take them, and now they can't bring in other guys because they can't make trades unless they're a perfect salary match. They can, so it creates a situation where you might get one team that's smarter than the rest, and now they're going to be the dynasty, which again I think works. Good night. Love you. Get out of here. Say goodnight to Unc. Don't just say goodnight to me.
Good night.
All right.
Later, nephew. Absolutely.
So here's the thing. 27-27, by the way. Sorry, I keep doing that. There's a 3 by Minnesota, 30-27. Let's see if we're on the same page. We're talking about viewership, and we're talking about team, and you're getting mixed information. Somebody's telling you that ratings are up. Other people are telling you ratings are down. And this is why you can't trust anyone but Fluent, because people will make up story. I just had your guy, he'll probably jump on here at some point. I just had it out with your guy at Goat James Kingdom, who posted an article about, Michael Jordan's going to come out and bash all of his fans and tell them they're crazy, because some guy wrote an article and posted it on this site called Medium. And I said, that doesn't seem, and you know me, I always like to find the truth, right? And I was like, that doesn't seem like it's a real article, because the one thing I do know about Michael Jordan,
right?
And I've been fortunate enough that I met him for about 15 seconds, but even then he was very politically correct. And when he should have said, "Get the F out of here, kid," he didn't. He was very, but the Republicans wear shoes too. Like, he does not say controversial things. If people are expecting him, by the way, to say anything, whether it's negative or positive, he is going to be right down the middle and be like, he is not going to screw this up.
Now, Tone, you are a conspiracy theorist. Not only are you a conspiracy theorist, you also are a realist. So with that being said, right? Hello, dear. How are you? With that being said, now remember who we dealing with here, Tone. Okay, I don't play basketball anymore, right? I don't play basketball anymore. I've been removed from the league for over 20 years now, right? So this isn't really my thing. I sell a lot of shoes. I got a lot of stuff going on, right? However, I am in my 60s, and stuff that I couldn't say years ago, I can say today.
Oh, so you think he might open up a little bit?
I'm just saying, Tone. I mean, still.
So let's go down that in 1 second. So let me go back a step. So he posts this thing from Medium, and the article. And I'm not going to pull it up, but I'll just give you the gist of it. But it basically says Jordan's going to bash his own fans and tell them how stupid they are, and that they're toxic and LeBron's the best player ever. And I'm like, that doesn't sound like
I
someone.
don't know if he's doing that.
That doesn't sound like someone who said, "Hey, the whole GOAT debate's nonsense because we didn't play against each other. We're in different eras, and like you've heard him in his interviews at Cigar Aficionado when he's saying all that stuff, right?" And so I said, well, let me look into this article. Who wrote this? And it's written by a guy. It says Elliot Barnes, Chicago Tribune NBA writer.
Yep.
So I go, okay. So I pull up the article. And I start reading it because that's the one thing. People read the headlines and then ignore the rest, right? That's just what people do. So I actually read it and I'm like, okay, so he says sources close to him have said this is what Jordan is planning on doing. And you know what? Now you've got me thinking maybe I should read the headline because I want to give you at least the basics of this.
Sources close to it.
Michael Jordan breaks his silence. NBA legend joins NBC to confront the toxic legacy of his own fans.
I don't think that's why he joined NBC.
No, it's So I said, okay, well, who is this guy, Elliot Barnes? So I pull up his bio, and here he is, Elliot Barnes, and he has one follower.
Nobody is paying any attention to him. That one follower might be him, by the way.
Maybe, but he says he works for the Chicago Tribune. So, and I'll get to that in a second. But in his article, he says sources, and the one and only one has a link. Sorry, two have a link. One is to NBA India, which you click it and it's a broken link. It goes nowhere. And then the second one is to an NBA writer at Essentially Sports. So I look up Essentially Sports, nothing. I look up the writer, Sumi Capri, and I find him. The only place I find him is on Twitter, and here he is on Twitter with 0 followers. So I'm like, how true time? Oh, it's Times of India, the Times of India, which is a broken link, and then 2 quotes from this other guy at Essentially Sports, who is again a nobody that has no ties to the NBA and no credentials, right?
Right.
Well, you know me, I know people who know people who know people.
Tone does know some people. He can get on the phone and get some people.
I called in a couple of I don't want to say favors. I just said, hey, have you ever heard of this guy? And I got an Elliot Barnes, not a sports writer, with the Chicago Tribune. It's a black financial writer, and as you can see, or if you can't, this is who they're claiming he is. So you can clearly see
that does not black financial,
unless he's a redhead and we didn't know it, so he's now black. The picture of the real Elliot Barnes is not him. And so I said, is there any NBA writer or sports writer, Elliot Barnes at the Chicago Tribune? And the answer is no. I go, okay, so this dude wrote an entire article, used a fake, an alias, doesn't work for the Chicago Tribune, and cited no sources for this article. And your guy Johnny said, oh, well, Medium is a trusted and respected source for news. And I said, no, it's not. It is a blog post where you can literally post anything you want. And he argued with me. So I said, really? Because look at this article that says Michael Jordan is the undisputed GOAT. And in fact, in that article, you're going to like this. I just got to fast forward a little bit. Here we go. Let me pause. There is a quote from you, Johnny, that says, in fact, Jordan is the GOAT. And even though you're dedicated to the greatness of LeBron James, you yourself said, in actuality, Jordan's the GOAT because, and let me quote him here, you can't be the GOAT with a losing record in the finals, poor playoff performances, and jumping teams. That's a direct quote from Johnny on Medium.
Oh, no way.
And he's like, you went and wrote a whole article and posted it on Medium just for that? And I said, no. What I did was, one of our writers at Sports Fluent, Trent Cohen, actually our only writer, had this article already written. And I said, here, put this quote in and post it on Medium. And, he did. And so I'm like, so now it's true. You think Jordan's the GOAT? And he's like, yeah, exactly. Silence is golden. So why I bring all that up isn't to poke fun at Johnny, because I like him. It's to say, you look at stuff like this. and you see this that says NBA ratings are down 38% since Los Angeles Lakers eliminated from playoffs.
Correct.
You know what you didn't do?
I looked at the headline. I mean, I looked at who. I looked at who.
You didn't look at Lake Show Yo.
Yes, I did see that. 100%.
Who is a 1,000 times LeBron James fan, and that's all he posts about is the greatness of LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
And so he made this up and posted it, or found it from somebody else who made it up and posted it.
Right.
Here's the reality. Right. Here's your Fluent moment. And let me give it to you. The regular season in the NBA was down. In fact, ESPN and TNT overall, by the way, the regular season was only down 2%. ESPN and TNT experienced declines of 7 and 8 respectively. ABC gained 10%. So it actually is up to only down 2% overall. However, the opening weekend of the playoffs were up 17%.
Yep.
The biggest game was not a Laker game. I don't understand why, but it was Celtics and Orlando that had 6.69 million viewers, peaking at over 8 million. The first round across all networks was up 6%. And ESPN was up 14%. Round 2 is up 7%. So things are looking actually really good for the NBA in the playoffs. And they're not down. What was it?
38%.
38%.
Almost 40%.
Since the Lakers got knocked out.
Mm-hmm.
That, as Maury Povich would say, is a lie. So now you know.
Now I do know. Mm-hmm. Now you're more fluent.
I think we might disagree on this one too.
Mm-hmm.
So Nikola Jokic said Aaron Gordon should not play in Game 7. I told him not to play. You can injure yourself even worse. You can see that he was struggling, hard to move, this and that. How do you feel about players playing hurt?
I like it because I think it does garner a certain level of respect for your teammates. And I mean, if I can walk, I'm playing off the strength that there aren't many opportunities I'm going to get to play in the playoffs. And I mean, the great ones, don't get me wrong, the great ones, they know when to shut it down, but they also know when to gut it through too. And I don't think this was a situation where Aaron Gordon, even though they got blown out, I don't think this was a situation where Aaron Gordon needed to be out there for 48 minutes. I think that it was just, I got to at minimum give it a go, Tone. That's what I have to do. I got to at minimum give it a go. I saw Magic in 89 in the finals in Game 3. He gave it a go. He couldn't do it. He gave it a go. His hamstring was too screwed up. He couldn't do it. With Aaron Gordon, same logic. Even if the fellas tell me, yo, you should shut it down, I'm going to give it a go just to see if I can go and to see if I can help. Because I can't see myself just letting you guys go out there and I'm not helping out at all. If I can at least try and give it a go, if I can't go, then bet. But I got to try.
So here's why I'm torn, right? Why I kind of agree with you and disagree with you. Sorry, I had to adjust my chair. Here's my struggle with this.
Yep.
Tough it out, man up, blah, all the cliche things we're going to say, right? However, if you're going to hurt your team by going out there,
take me out there.
Then sorry, you're not gutting it out. You're being selfish. And the line is tough to understand, right? Like, I get giving it a go. Let me go and see if I can go. If I can't, if I'm not, look, no one's 100%.
Right.
But if I am like James Worthy was injured in 91 against the Bulls.
He could go.
He played. No, he could go. He played 38 minutes a game. He put up 20-something points a game. Was he as good as he normally would be? No. But was he better than anybody else that would have taken his place? Yes.
Right.
And that's where I struggle, is that, if Pippen with his migraine is shooting 1 of 10, well, guess what? I could have brought someone else in who could have done better than that, because who could do worse?
You're kind of killing us.
So you actually hurt the team and cost them a team because you wanted, because I'm sorry, selfishness and team go both ways. I'm going to do it for the team. Well, sometimes you have to sit for the team. Sometimes it's actually better for the team if you sit and let someone else step up. If you have someone, so Aaron Gordon, I'm not picking on him in particular, but like, could those minutes have gone to more minutes, to Christian Brown and to others, let's say in his place, who again couldn't have played as well as him individually, but maybe as a unit. Michael Porter Jr., who was playing with one shoulder, right? Like, would someone else have been better or given them a better chance or given someone an opportunity? Because how many times have a player come in and you're like, where did that come from? Well, sometimes they just need an opportunity, right? So that's why I say I struggle, because I'm with you. I agree. You got to give it a go.
Right.
And you got to, don't just, I have a hangnail, I'm going to sit out, because we all hate that. Mm-hmm. But that's where I struggle with it, because I'm on both sides, because I think you should give it a go, but I also know, like, not so much that it costs your team, because you're just like, well, no, I can't.
Well, I also,
because if they win without me, what does that say about me?
Well, I mean, I think that goes back to being a team guy, because I know that as good as we are, we do have other people that can step up and do the job. Flip side to that, though, Tone, is this Denver Nuggets team, they were already depleted. Right? Yeah, they were already depleted.
Yeah, it wasn't like, I'm not using this one in particular, because this one, like, everybody was dying.
Right. It wasn't like we had a bunch of different guys that we got a guy that can play behind Aaron Gordon, and he's awesome. He might not be as awesome as Aaron Gordon, but he's awesome. So we can take him off the floor and we can put in Aaron Gordon. Just like with MPJ, we got another guy, but we don't. Right. So this kid Strother actually turned out to be really good in game 6, he turned out to be really good. But then we had guys who ended up playing themselves out of the rotation, like Zeke Naji. Like Zeke Naji ended up playing himself out of the rotation. Now, do I go back to Zeke Naji now that MPJ is hurt, because I might get some positive minutes out of him? Do I go back to Saric? Excuse me. Do I go back to Saric now because he's on the bench? He's a viable NBA player? Maybe he isn't. I don't know. I just think that as one of the main cogs in this, machine, I got to at least give it a run. Tone, if I'm killing us, take me out. 100%. Yeah. If I'm killing us, take me out. I will sit down and we'll try it again next year, or we'll figure it out as we go. But
if you know he's bad and he does the pregame, doesn't it help a young player's confidence by saying, hey, Aaron can't go today. You're going to start. I believe in you. I know you can do it.
But
versus I don't think you're good enough. I don't trust you. I'm going to start a guy that's hurt instead of you. And then if he sucks, well, now I'm going to be like, hey, now I need you to step in.
It's a double-edged sword.
From a psychology standpoint, it's
100%. It's a double-edged sword, because now I'm thinking, well, do you really want? The only reason why you're playing me is because this guy ain't here. Like, if this guy was here, you wouldn't give me any run.
Like,
but it's also when
the Lakers. How do you think the Lakers bench feels right after game?
Not playing at all.
When they play the starters the whole second half.
Yes, not playing at all.
That killed any confidence that they had, whether they admit it or not. It's sometimes subconscious. Oh, you don't think you can play.
But I also think the flip side to that, Tone, is okay, you don't think that I can play, and the only reason why I'm out here is because this guy's hurt. As a competitor, I'm thinking, well, I'm going to show you why you should be playing me.
Yeah.
So
if they have that mentality, it could work. You're absolutely right. 45-38, Minnesota, 1:40 left in the second half. I'm going to throw the link in when the half ends, and see if anybody wants to pop up, because we have, as my good friend DJ Khaled would say,
another one.
Mm-hmm. This is tricky.
This isn't tricky at all.
Mm-hmm.
This is the easiest thing you've ever sent me in your life. And for those who are like, what the hell is this? Okay, of these 6 players, who's the greatest? These are all number 5 picks, by the way, in case you didn't know, in the NBA. Who is the greatest number 5 pick? Well, and I'll ask you a question. Is Ray Allen a top 15 player in the NBA, in NBA history?
No.
Is Charles Barkley?
No.
Is Dwayne Wade?
No.
Is Vince Carter?
No.
Is Scottie Pippen?
No.
Is Kevin Garnett?
He's closest. He's the closest.
Then there's your answer. Pretty simple.
That's what I was thinking. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Who's second and third and fourth and fifth and sixth might be a debate.
Yes.
But Kevin Garnett is either in your top 15, if not probably in your top 20. And I don't think anybody else. I don't think is anybody in your top 20?
Any of these dudes? No.
Except for KG.
Except for KG. He's the only one that's in my top 20. That's it.
So I think KG doesn't even get as much love as he deserves. Like, we do not talk about him as much as we should in the same breath as, I guess, because of titles, with Tim Duncan.
Well, the reason why we don't talk about him as much as we do, Tone, is because people just think that he played for the Celtics. They forget that he played 12 years in Minnesota. He was in Minnesota for 12 years. Yes, he was up there for 12 years. And 11 of those 12 years, he was either getting bounced in round one or he wasn't making the playoffs. That's what was going on up in Minnesota. Even though he was their only league MVP, even though he was a first-team All-Pro and a first-team All-League defender and an All-Star starter, he was doing that up in Minnesota for years.
Do you know from 16 feet to the three-point line, he shoots well over 40%?
He had a money mid-range game.
I mean, it's crazy.
Money.
He was, and defensively, we shouldn't have to say anything how good he was defensively. Like,
I don't
this
think there's 10 guys in NBA history better than him as a defender. I don't.
I don't think there's 10 guys better than him in NBA history that as a two-way player.
Yeah.
I don't think there's 10 guys better than him.
And I think you can also make the argument, Tone, that if I think about defenders, I'm gonna say Russell. I'll say Russell. Actually, I'm thinking about defenders: Lajuan, Russ, Dennis Rodman, Scottie Pippen. I think Duncan was better than him as a defender. After that, we can have a conversation about everybody else.
I would say Duncan was a better post defender, but I would say KG was a more versatile defender because he was more mobile.
I think he was better. I think KG was a better athlete.
Yeah, depending on what you were running, you know, who would work better in your system. But in those days, yes, Tim Duncan. Yes, you can't argue with what Tim Duncan did 100%. Okay, so KG's one. KG's one. For me, Chuck's two. Am I crazy?
No, I don't think you're crazy. I think I had Scottie Pippen because I got Scottie Pippen as a top 25 player all time. I think he's better than Dwayne Wade.
So I have Chuck 2, Pippen 3.
I got Wade ahead of Charles too. By the way,
you got Wade ahead of Charles?
Yes, I do. I got Wade ahead of Charles.
Blasphemous. Why?
I got Wade ahead of Charles. I think the versatility on the defensive side of the ball, I think he got it done when it mattered the most. I do think that Charles, as a rebounder and as a scorer, as a rebounder and a scorer. No, I don't. I do not have Charles. I do not have Wade ahead of Charles. No, I don't. No, I don't. No, I do not.
I was waiting to hear your argument because I wanted to hear.
I'm trying to remember exactly how I had put this together. No, I don't. I do not have Wade ahead of Barkley. No, I don't.
Okay. Then so the only one we have is I got Chuck at 2. You have Pippen at 2. Yep. I knock Pippen only because I think not even an argument. He's a better all-round player than Charles. I don't think anyone will disagree with that. But I just think doing it as a number 1 and doing it as a number 2, I think, unfortunately for Scottie, he only got to be the number 1 for 1.5 seasons.
Sure.
Right? Like, and so it's easier to do things when you're not the guy, when you're not the main focus of defense, not the main focus of it. And so even though better all-around player, he had the advantage of playing with Michael Jordan. And then even when he leaves, right, and he goes to Houston and then Portland, he's not the number 1 guy there.
And on top of that, he was over too at that point.
Yeah, he was. Listen, in 98, he plays 44 games because of the surgery and stuff. He's never the same after that. And that's, hey, it's surgery. It is what it is.
In 99, him and Charles and Olajuwon, they was only together for 3 months because we had the lockout season. And then in 2000 with that Trailblazer team, I mean, he was at that point, I think he was in year 14, right, at that point. But I think the difference for me with Scottie Pippen,
because I think it's close, because like I said, I think Scottie's the better all-around player. But that's why it's like, well, I've seen Chuck, win an MVP, carry a team
Right.
to the finals as the number one guy. And let's be honest, I'm sorry, I don't think Charles's supporting cast was that much better than. And again, he only got to do it for 1.5 seasons.
Yeah.
Was that much better than what the Bulls had?
I just think the difference with Scottie Pippen is I didn't know that he was that good until Jay stepped away. That was the difference with Scottie. Like, I knew Scottie was good. I thought he was awesome. I just didn't know he was that good until Jay stepped away. And then I was like, oh shit. I really I don't think it, for me, it didn't knock Jay down. Right. I don't feel like it knocked Jay down more than it
Elevated Scottie.
Yes, more than it enhanced Scottie. It was like, yo, this guy is way better than I think he is. Because I just thought he was the consummate complimentary player, only to find out that, yo, this guy, if you actually give him an opportunity, because if we remember, I mean, they ended up losing to the Knicks. And he might not have had that thing that Jordan had. He might not have had that thing that Olajuwon had. But boy, he definitely had the other stuff. He definitely had the other stuff.
But the thing that he lacked, right? That confidence, that killer mentality. I think that's the separator between him and Charles and Jordan. And look, you might be right. If Jordan never comes back and I see Pippen do it for 2, 3, 4 years, I might be with you. But I always know that players, can have a good year. And so yeah, he played great, and the Bulls played fantastic in the regular season. And then they made it out of the first round, but people seem to forget they played Cleveland in the first round, and the starting power forward, Hot Rod Williams, and the starting center, Brad Daugherty, were hurt for that series. Yeah, they swept them, but you took 2 of their 5 starters and probably 2 of their 3 best players, definitely their 2 best rebounders, their 2 best big men, and you took them out. So, like,
basically Cleveland this year. What happened with Mobley and DeAndre Hunter?
Yeah, it's kind of like, so did he? Okay, yeah, he won the series, but okay, what did he do the next season? Well, for the first half of the season, halfway through the season, he started begging Mike to come back. So, well, hold on now. You're the guy. You can't do that. The Tony Kukoc thing really bothers me, right? Where they drop the play for Kukoc to shoot the last shot and he pouts and goes. So those are the look. He's never going to live that down. Right? Never. Nor should he. So those are the things where I say that's why I have Barkley over Pippen, but I have Pippen top 25. And it's super, super close with him and Chuck. Like I said, because I do believe that he is obviously a better defender and a better all-around player, better playmaker, better passer. Then we've got 3. And I want to hurry it up a little because we got some super chats and stuff. But is it? I'll just say all 3. Is it Wade, Carter, Ray Allen, or Wade, Ray Allen, Carter? Because I think both of us would have Wade at 4. I don't think either one of us.
I think it's Wade, Allen, Vince.
Yeah. Okay.
That's where I'm at. Yep.
Yeah, and because I don't think the last 2 are even Hall of Famers. So that's a story for another. We'll get to another day. So. We'll leave that one alone. Did we have? Yeah. That was the last one. Okay, cool. So let's go to first. Let me put this in because are we at halftime? Good. We're at halftime.
Yep. We're at halftime.
Timberwolves up 4. We got 10 minutes left.
Actually, it was one more that that you missed, Tom.
Did I? What did I miss? Tell me.
There was one more that you missed. I'm pretty confident that I sent.
Oh yes. Kendrick Perkins, I won't show it on screen, but I'll read it. Kendrick Perkins calls out Donovan Mitchell. A Donovan Mitchell-led team has never been to the conference finals. Donovan Mitchell, you got a coach fired. You got JB Bickerstaff fired. This is a fact. You had no communication with the man while he was there. You didn't like him, right? As soon as he got fired, you signed a contract extension, right? You extended with the Cavs.
So, Tone, and you, because you and me go back and forth, and I give you logic when I change your mind. You give me logic when you change my mind. Tone, when was going to the conference finals the standard? I don't ever remember that being the bar ever. When Charles was losing, when Charles Barkley was losing in the playoffs, I wasn't saying he can't get to the conference finals. I was never saying that. That was never going on in my mind. When David Robinson, who at that point, I'll stay with Charles Barkley. When Charles Barkley finally got to the conference finals, which was year 9, I wasn't saying Barkley finally got to the conference finals. I wasn't saying that. David Robinson is another example of a guy who got to the conference finals in 95. But just so you know, Tone, he was 8 years removed from college when he did that. He was 6 years in the league, 8 years removed from college by the time he got there, right? When I think about Kevin Garnett, I mean, I don't ever remember saying Garnett can't get to the conference finals when he was losing every year in the playoffs. That was never the bar.
Well, okay, so let me ask you this.
I was never thinking that.
Do we not hold David Robinson and Kevin Garnett and others as high as we should because they weren't making those when they were in San Antonio, in Minnesota? And did we not have this conversation about Damian Lillard that Portland probably kept that team together
too
long because they got to the Western Conference Finals? And so it was like, well, that's like a big deal. And do you not, sir, you, not me, say that winning the Western Conference Championship means something?
It 100% means something.
So maybe that's why it's the bar, because you guys think it means something when I say it doesn't mean a damn thing.
Well, so to counter that, Tone, do I care? I don't care as much about Damian Lillard getting to the Western Conference Championship when he got swept out of the Western Conference Championship, number one. And number two, he sucked in Game 7 of the semifinals. He was awful. On top of that, so
do we say the same thing about him? Like, is he a coach killer because he got his coach fired and he only made the Western Conference Finals once out of all these years?
Well, how about we keep it with Kendrick Perkins? How about the fact that you were part of a team that formed a coup to get their coach fired? Don't forget he was in Cleveland, and that Cleveland crew ran out David Blatt to get Ty Lue in there. You were on that crew,
but he wasn't the guy, though.
He might not have been the guy, but you still was on that crew. So to say that to say that Donovan Mitchell got a coach fired, you were part. You see what that kind of stuff looks like. You know exactly what that kind of stuff looks like. Does
he call out LeBron for getting Blatt fired?
I never heard him do that. Never heard him call out LeBron.
Okay, at least he would be consistent if he did.
Right, and with that being and with that being said, right, with that being said, coaches, because I also saw the year after Shaq left Orlando, they formed a coup to get Brian Hill fired. So players get coaches fired on the regular. And Tone, your guy Magic 100% got Paul Westhead fired.
Oh, well, he said if they don't fire him, I'm trade me. Yeah, 100%.
He definitely got him fired. With that being said, right? With that being said, I just don't understand how the conference finals for me became the standard when I cared about winning. I did care about going deep into the playoffs. I'm not going to argue that, because I 100% did care about going deep into the playoffs. But I never said, yo, Barkley, you got to get to the conference finals. Shaq, you got to get to the conference finals. Or KG, you got to get to the conference finals. It was about, why aren't you winning? What's the problem? It wasn't specifically the conference finals. Why aren't you getting out of the first round? And not to mention, Donovan Mitchell has shown me. He's shown me I can win you a playoff series. We're better than them. I'll prove that we better than them. And I'll make sure of that. Now, getting deep into the playoffs, I think that now there's other things that matter. There's other factors that matter when you're trying to go deep into the playoffs. But with that being said, right? With that being said, when you set the bar at the conference finals, what happens when we lose in the conference finals 3 times? I never got to the finals now? Are we going to move the goalpost?
I hate the conference finals as a goalpost because I've seen teams, at least one that I know of that I can think of off the top of my head, beat 2 500 teams, 2 41-41 teams in the first round, the second round, make the conference finals. Does that make them a great team?
It just makes them better than that subpar team.
I beat 2 41 teams to make the conference final. Big deal. And that's why I say I think because people pick and choose when they want to use it as a bar of measurement. Oh, no team led by Donovan Mitchell has made the conference final. Now it matters. Oh, no, if they win, we're hanging a banner, so now it does matter. Listen, a lot of it is your team, your dynamic, your injuries, the draw, just sometimes the matchups, right? Like I don't care if Michael Jordan was God. The Bulls were not beating the Celtics in either one of those years.
No, they weren't.
No way, no chance, no
86
how.
or 87. They weren't.
I don't care right now. It was in the finals.
He had a broken foot, and they still not beating them.
I don't care, and I know it was the finals, but hear me out. I don't care if LeBron James was at his peak, 2014, 2015, 16, whatever you want to call it, his best. They weren't beating. If you dropped them into 2007, they weren't beating the Spurs. Right? There's just teams that you will not beat. Can Donovan Mitchell make it to the conference finals when his team is riddled with injuries? No. Now, if they're healthy, do they win? Don't know.
Right.
But to say like, well, he's a coach killer and he's somehow not a great player because they haven't been to the conference finals. Sure, they should have been. They were the number 1 seed.
100%.
They lost as a favorite, 100%, and he should be. But he played. I think he played great.
Those first 2 games, the first 3 games, 3 of the first 4 games, he was averaging 41 and 7. Tone, just so we clear.
How much more could he do?
Yeah, he was averaging 41 and 7. Well, he could average 42, or he can average 43. Give me a break,
Sure.
man.
Okay.
Listen, I think he did everything that was necessary. But to say now, right? But to say now that the conference finals is the bar for Donovan Mitchell, and then what happens when he gets to the conference finals and he loses? Which I thought that was their ceiling this year. Like it's not like I had Cleveland winning the NBA championship. I thought that them getting to I thought that was as far as they were going to go, not because of Donovan Mitchell, but because I didn't think Evan Mobley was there yet.
Yeah.
Now next year,
yeah, you've already said next year's their year.
And Tone, I'm going to say this to you tonight, and after next year, that's it, Tone.
Right. If they get bounced in the first or second round next year,
I'm out.
They're done. Yeah.
Because this is very much like because if I'm going to do this with them, if I'm going to do this with the Clippers, then I got to do the same thing with them.
Well, Clippers don't count because those Braves always
right.
San Diego Chargers, they'll find a way to lose.
Right. I do get that point. What I'm saying what I'm saying with this Cleveland team is that every year, right? Every year they've gotten better, right? Before they got Donovan Mitchell, they were a playing team, right? Before they got Donovan Mitchell, they were a playoff team. They get Donovan Mitchell, they're a top 5 seed in the East. They end up losing in the first round to the Knicks. Then last year, they're a top 3 seed. They're getting better. They end up losing in the second round. Mitchell gets hurt. Jared Allen gets hurt. This year, they're the number 1 seed in the East, and they're making progress, significant progress. I still don't think they're there yet, so I think next year they challenge for the Eastern Conference Championship, like legit challenge for it. If this crew is intact and is still together, of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, don't do anything rash. I would agree. All right, Foster. Thoughts on the Wizards next year? Don't get many Wizards questions. Don't expect to make the playoffs, but I think they can hit 30 to 35 wins.
Foster, I'm in the minority. I love Alex Sarr. I think he's going to be Rudy Gobert good as a defender. I think he could be in that kind of class. Yes. I love everything about this kid. I love his versatility. I love his ability to guard the rim. I see the potential in him being a double-digit rebounder. And the way the game is going, I love that kid. I think that they're on to something with that kid Johnson. I think that Bub is the real deal. I think with the 2 vets in both Marcus Smart and Middleton, I think that I don't think that this team is, don't get me wrong, I don't think they're a playoff team, but I do think that they have some, I think that they have some blocks that they can build around. This kid, this kid Bilal Coulibaly, I think he's something. I definitely think
you're
he's
just bragging because you can say his name,
Coulibaly. But I do like this team, and the catalyst to this team, Tone, more than anybody, is this kid Alex Sarr. I think he's the guy that you can build your unit around.
Yeah, and I don't think 30 to 35 rings, 30 to 35 wins is crazy, especially when you're looking at an East that, look, all of it is rumor right now, but if the Celtics are going to be without Tatum, so they're going to be worse.
Yes, they are.
You're not going to get better. Now, do they keep it all together? And sure, and maybe they're a good team, but you're not going to be better without Tatum. But let's say they blow it up, now they're worse. Giannis, again, rumored to be making
Would you trade him, Tone?
Yes. That's just because I don't want him in Milwaukee. Like if I was with Milwaukee, no, I would never, ever.
That's what I'm talking about. You're the GM in Milwaukee.
I'm the GM in Milwaukee. No, hell no. I'm handcuffing him to the basket. He's not going anywhere.
And now, of course, if you are the Lakers or your team, of course you're trading for him.
Yeah, for him in a heartbeat. No, if I'm in Milwaukee, you're never leaving until you're old and gray and decrepit. And I'm still going to pay you to walk around the arena. So yeah, no, you don't trade him. Now, they've made every possible mistake that they could around him is the problem. But no, you don't trade. But my point is, so now Boston's no longer a top 4 team. Milwaukee's no longer, I think they were top 4 or 5, 6, whatever team. They're no longer a top team. So really you've eliminated there's nobody else who's other than maybe Orlando in a position where they'll probably get better just with age and experience. So you'll have Orlando, Detroit, Cleveland.
Somebody's going to come out of nowhere next year.
Oh, and Indiana. I'm sorry. Oh, Indiana and the Knicks. Let me not forget Indiana and the Knicks.
Please don't forget them.
Yeah, let me not forget that. So that's 5. That's 5 good teams. Again, we're not suggesting they're making the playoffs. So you got 5 good teams, and then you've got 11 bad teams, or average to below average teams. So winning 30, 35 games is not crazy. It's not ridiculous, as you would say. How many players do you think are really worth max contracts?
How many players do I think are worth max contracts? At least 10.
Is that just pulling a number out of the hat, or is there reasoning behind that?
Because I think that when I think about max deals, I think about guys that do more than what's on the stat sheet. Like guys like Marcus Smart, guys like Drew Holiday. I think that those guys do more than what's on the box score. And because they do more than what's on the box score, like guys like Jalen Johnson, Jaden McDaniels, I think they do more than what's on the box score. And I think their value is more on the court than it is in the box score.
So I'll listen, from a player perspective, as many as can get it are worth the max contract for themselves, because get your money. However, I would say a max player to me is a player that is good enough to be the number 1 on a championship contending team. And so that right away eliminates, let's be honest,
probably 85 to 90% of the guys in the league.
That leaves about 12.
Yeah.
That leaves about 12 max, because listen, if you're the 7, 8, 9, 10 seed, although technically you're in the playoffs, I don't think you're contending for a title. Like, you may go lucky and get on a run, but no one's thinking an 8 seed is going for, contending for a title consistently, right? Not just 1 year, consistently. So that leaves the top 12 best players on the 12 best teams. Now, are all of them worth max contracts? Probably not, but I think your numbers, 8 to 12 that are actually worth it. 30 are going to get it because the best player on every team, plus a couple of number 2s on some other teams, right? So you're going to get those guys getting it. But yeah, I think 8 to 12 is realistic. But that's the same thing I think like with superstars, right? Like people want to say, oh, there's 100 superstars. I'm like, no, there's like 6. So there you go. Appreciate that. And then last one, because this wasn't a super chat, but because it went with our conversation. If Hallie wins a chip, how are you guys talking about him as a point guard ranking currently? Number 1 if he wins a chip.
Best point guard in the league. No, we ain't doing that. No.
Okay. But I think going from the most overrated player in the NBA, he wins a chip and Finals MVP, we might have to take that title.
That tag, that we ripping that tag off. That overrated tag is done. Get that out of here. No, we're done.
I think it's time for the second half. A pleasure as always. Because we're 3 minutes in. All right, let's go watch the rest. Not that you've been watching. I know you've been watching. I've been watching. So let's go put our full attention into the game. We'll catch you next week. It's you now. It's not me.
Absolutely, guys. We will see you. You know where to find us at. Me and my man Tony Tone. We're here every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. We will see you guys soon. Until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. When's the last time you talked to your mother? Call your mother. Talk to you guys soon. But until then, take it light. But take it. Absolutely, man. Good to see you guys tonight.
Wait.
Hold on.
Wait.
Waiting.
I completely forgot to show you. Remember that dude that came in here and challenged me to a debate and then chickened out after you sent the link. He said it's all he messaged me after and he said it's a mental game. You're playing checkers and I'm playing chess. Once you think you have me beat, you'll let your guard down, and that's when I attack like a shark in blood-infested waters. I hope you stay ready. I will be debating you sooner than you think, and you don't even know the topic. So I just laughed because that's what I do.
That's what you call it. That's, you know what that is? That's
hold on. Let me finish. Laugh all you want. This is a part of the plan. Now that you have let your guard down and think you have me beat, now it's time for me to deliver the final blow. Cockiness and lack of respect of your opponent will get you embarrassed. Remember these words after I cook you. Your arrogance will come back to haunt you. But until then, I suggest you go hide under your bed because the great one has arrived and I will not be denied. And then he put 4 dolphins. I don't know what that means. You know what that means?
Yeah,
you know what that means?
He's a South Florida dude.
Oh, okay. I think it's the guy Mike.
Yeah, that's exactly who it is.
It is him, isn't it?
Yeah, that's him.
And so I again did the laughy face, and he did a clowny face.
Loser.
And I said, "Yep, you are definitely a clown. This is a fact." And he said, "You're the definition of a circus clown. You're one of the biggest goofies on social." And I'm dumb because then I reply, and I said, "Really? So why is everyone laughing at you?" As we were laughing at him. I'm sorry, I'm running late. Anyways. And then I said, anyways, I got to jump on ESPN Radio because I was doing a spot on ESPN Radio Buffalo, as I do from time to time, to do NBA playoff analysis. And then I made a bad joke about him enjoying his mother's basement. And then I said, I'll send you an autographed photo later. Stay fluent, because he's clearly a fan. Mm-hmm. And then he said, liar, you are not on no damn ESPN Radio, but I will expose you later. Point of this is today he writes, pointy finger, laugh, clan. I'm about to demolish you on Fluent and Chill and expose you. I ain't one of these TikTok casuals. I actually played ball. It's over for you.
No, you didn't.
But did you see him? I didn't see him.
He wasn't here.
He was not here. Okay.
No, he was.
I was just curious in case I missed something in that.
Didn't.
Okay.
You didn't.
Yeah, but call your mother.
Call your mother. Call your mother. Don't forget to call
you know what? I've got this water, and we've got,
Put on
a suit, drink water. Don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
Nah, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.